All right, let's dive deep into this. We are officially on the brink of a massive historic winter storm set to impact a significant portion of the United States. And let me tell you, this is one of the most remarkable systems I've had the chance to cover. We're talking about record-breaking snowfall in areas that rarely, if ever, experience winter weather, along with some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in years. From the deep south to the east coast, this storm is about to leave its mark in a big way. So buckle up as I take you through everything you need to know. To put things in perspective, we're less than 24 hours away from what could genuinely be a once-in-a-lifetime event for some areas. For places like northern Florida, southern Louisiana, and even parts of Texas, this isn't just another winter storm. It's an anomaly. Some of these regions haven't seen measurable snowfall in over a decade, and now they're preparing for not only snow, but also ice and freezing rain, conditions they're simply not equipped to handle. Combine that with an Arctic blast that's sending temperatures plummeting to record-breaking lows across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and beyond, and we've got ourselves a weather event that demands attention. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Let's start with where we are right now. As of today, most of the country is relatively quiet. This calm before the storm might lull some people into a false sense of security, but trust me, that's about to change, and fast. Light snow is already falling in parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and the Texas Panhandle. Now, this snow isn't heavy, and it's not going to amount to much in terms of accumulation. However, it plays a critical role in what's coming next. Tonight, this initial area of moisture will meet up with another system pulling in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. When these two systems collide, they'll set the stage for a powerful winter storm that will begin unfolding late tonight and intensify through Tuesday and Wednesday. This storm isn't just rare, it's historic. Northern Florida is under a winter storm watch for the first time in over 11 years, and we're expecting measurable snow and ice accumulation there as early as tomorrow. For context, this is a region that rarely experiences winter weather, let alone a storm of this magnitude. And it's not just Florida. This system will sweep across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas, bringing snow and ice to places that usually don't even own snowplows. The driving force behind all of this is a massive Arctic air mass spilling southward from Canada. This isn't your typical cold front. This is an Arctic outbreak of epic proportions. Tonight, the coldest air will settle over the Midwest, with temperatures dropping into the double digits below zero in states like Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri. By tomorrow morning, the deep freeze will expand, and by Wednesday, this frigid air will have pushed all the way to the East Coast. We're talking about temperatures so low that they're breaking records across the board, with wind chills making it feel even colder. To give you an idea of what to expect, temperatures in parts of the Midwest tomorrow morning could plunge as low as 25 degrees below zero. And that's without factoring in the wind chill. Wind chills in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin could reach an absolutely brutal 50 degrees below zero. At those levels, frostbite can occur in just minutes. If you're in these areas, please take precautions, limit your time outdoors, dress in layers, and make sure you're covering exposed skin. This kind of cold isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. What makes this setup even more remarkable is how far south this Arctic air is pushing. By tomorrow, freezing temperatures will reach deep into the Gulf Coast, creating the perfect conditions for a rare Gulf Coast winter storm. The combination of this cold air and moisture from the Gulf is why we're expecting heavy snow and ice in places like Houston, New Orleans, and even northern Florida. Let's break down the timeline. By late tonight, freezing rain and snow will begin developing in central and east Texas. Around midnight, the storm will intensify with heavy snow falling in places like Houston and Lafayette by early Tuesday morning. Temperatures in these areas will be in the upper 20s to low 30s, which means the snow will be heavy and wet, perfect for significant accumulation. By sunrise, parts of southeast Texas and southern Louisiana could already have several inches of snow on the ground. As the day progresses, the storm will move eastward, spreading heavy snow and freezing rain into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. By Tuesday afternoon, areas like New Orleans could be dealing with record-breaking snowfall. The city has never recorded more than 3 inches of snow, and the last measurable snowfall was back in 2009. This storm could easily surpass that, making it a truly historic event. Further east, freezing rain and snow will continue into Georgia and the Carolinas, with northern Florida seeing a mix of freezing rain and sleet by the evening. Travel will become increasingly dangerous as the storm progresses. Freezing rain creates a layer of ice that's nearly impossible to drive on safely, especially in areas that lack the infrastructure to deal with winter weather. If you're in the storm's path, it's best to stay off the roads if you can. Now let's talk snowfall totals. Southeast Texas and southern Louisiana are expected to see widespread totals of 3 to 6 inches, with localized areas potentially picking up 8 to 10 inches. For northern Florida, southern Georgia, and the Carolinas, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches, with some spots possibly seeing higher amounts. Ice accumulation will also be a major concern, particularly in Texas and Louisiana, where freezing rain and sleet could create treacherous conditions. This storm is incredibly complex, and forecasting it has been a challenge. Storms like this are so rare in the South that there's limited historical data to work with, which makes predicting snowfall totals tricky. That said, there's a good chance this storm could overperform in some areas, so don't be surprised if totals end up higher than expected. For example, parts of southern Louisiana and southeast Texas could see localized totals well over 6 inches, and some spots might even approach 10 inches. At the core of this dramatic weather event is a sharp dip in the jet stream, a high-altitude ribbon of fast-moving air that acts as a boundary between cold and warm air masses. In this case, the jet stream has plunged unusually far south, creating a pathway for Arctic air to surge into states that rarely experience freezing temperatures, let alone snowfall. This rare atmospheric setup is not only causing frigid conditions in the northern and central U.S., but is also setting the stage for record-breaking snow and ice accumulations in parts of the Deep South. The northern plains have already borne the brunt of this Arctic invasion. Temperatures there have plunged to dangerously low levels, with wind chills reaching as low as UF 55 degf in parts of North Dakota and Minnesota. These bone-chilling conditions are a stark reminder of the life-threatening dangers posed by such extreme cold. Frostbite can set in within minutes, and prolonged exposure to these conditions can lead to hypothermia or worse. Schools, businesses, and transportation systems in the region are shutting down as residents hunker down to wait out the worst of the cold. As the Arctic air moves southward, it is clashing with warmer, moisture-laden air from the Gulf of Mexico, creating a perfect storm for wintry precipitation. In southern states like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, where snow and ice are rare phenomena, this storm is set to bring conditions that most residents have never experienced in their lifetimes. Freezing rain and snow began falling in southern Texas overnight, and by morning, cities like San Antonio and Houston found themselves blanketed in snow. In Houston, a city far more accustomed to dealing with hurricanes than blizzards, residents are waking up to a surreal sick, snow-covered streets, icy rooftops, and a cityscape transformed by winter. The snowfall is just the beginning. As the day progresses, the storm's intensity will increase, bringing heavier snow and ice to the region. Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama are bracing for significant impacts, with snowfall totals expected to range from 4 to 8 inches in some areas. In New Orleans, a city steeped in warm weather traditions and ill-equipped for winter weather, residents are preparing for what could be the heaviest snowfall in over a century. The combination of heavy snow, strong winds, and freezing temperatures is likely to create whiteout conditions, making travel nearly impossible and stranding those who venture out unprepared. The Gulf Coast, a region renowned for its balmy winters, is facing a once-in-a-lifetime winter storm. Snow is expected to fall as far south as the beaches of Galveston, Texas, and the coastal marshes of Louisiana. In Mobile, Alabama, and Pensacola, Florida, residents are bracing for a rare glimpse of snowflakes, with accumulations possible even in these warm weather havens. Such conditions are exceedingly rare, and their impacts are compounded by the region's lack of snow removal equipment, winter weather infrastructure, and experience dealing with icy roads. Farther east, the storm's effects will be felt in Georgia, the Carolinas, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic. While these areas may not experience the same level of snowfall as the Deep South, even light snow or freezing rain can create significant challenges. Atlanta, a city infamous for its struggles during winter storms, could see icy roads and traffic disruptions, while cities like Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina, could experience measurable snow for the first time in years. As the storm pushes northeast, its intensity will diminish somewhat, but not before bringing hazardous conditions to millions. Adding to the storm's complexity is the extreme fire weather risk it is creating in parts of the West. In Southern California, strong Santa Ana winds are gusting at speeds of up to 100 mph in mountain areas and 50-70 mph in valleys. These winds, combined with critically low humidity levels, are creating a perfect environment for wildfires to ignite and spread rapidly. Red flag warnings are in effect across the region, and residents are being urged to remain vigilant, as any spark could lead to devastating consequences. The juxtaposition of wildfire threats in the West and historic winter storms in the South underscores the scale and complexity of this extraordinary weather event. The aftermath of this storm is likely to be felt for days, if not weeks. Power outages are a major concern, especially in areas experiencing heavy ice accumulations. Ice-laden trees and power lines are already buckling under the weight, and utility crews are bracing for widespread outages that could leave thousands without electricity or heat. For residents in affected areas, this could mean days of hardship with limited access to warmth, water, and other necessities. Transportation systems are also being thrown into chaos. Major highways, including Interstate 10, are becoming impassable as snow and ice accumulate, leading to accidents, road closures, and, stranded motorists. Airports across the region are canceling flights, and rail services are being disrupted. The economic impact of the storm is expected to be significant as businesses are forced to close and supply chains are interrupted. Perhaps the most profound impact of this storm will be the lessons it imparts. For residents in the Deep South, many of whom have never seen snow or experienced freezing temperatures, this event is a stark reminder of the power of nature and the importance of preparedness. Emergency management officials are urging residents to stay indoors, conserve energy, and avoid unnecessary travel. Communities are rallying together, offering support to those in need and working to ensure that vulnerable populations, including the elderly and homeless, have access to warmth and shelter. As the storm continues its march across the country, its legacy will be one of disruption, challenge, and resilience. It is a vivid illustration of the extraordinary forces at play in our atmosphere and a reminder that even the most unlikely of weather events can become reality. In the days and weeks to come, the stories of survival, adaptation, and recovery will serve as a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of nature's extremes.